Welcome to another video, guys. As you can probably tell, I'm not recording on the DJI today. Left it in the house, so we're back to the iPhone. Today we're going to be looking at this Peugeot Boxer. It's a horse box, and the complaint with this one is an engine management light on. So the tool that we're going to be using today is the THINKSCAN 689BT, made by THINKSCAN. It's a little Bluetooth diagnostic tool, and as you can see there, cracking little tool. Let's see how it performs on this Peugeot Boxer van. Now I'm going to get this connected up. As always, I'm going to use my little breakout lead just so I don't forget the dongle, because I've done that before with previous machines. You go up, you finish up with the vehicle, and you go to the next one, and it turns out you've left your little OBD dongle, Bluetooth dongle, still in the previous customer's car. So let's just get the THINKSCAN plugged in here. So I haven't used it yet on one of these vans. These vans can be pernickety with certain diagnostic tools, so we'll find out if it's actually going to be any good. So turn the ignition on. We'll just confirm that we have got a engine management light on. It's in Limp mode as well. So you can see there we've got a check engine warning. Right front door open obviously, but that is our main issue there. Engine management light on, so let's get into this. So we're just going to go into enter. You can see the OBD port on these, as always, is behind that cover, as you can see there. So we're just doing the VIN scan. It might not pick this up because of the type of van it is. Sometimes you need to do it manually, so I won't be surprised if that's the case. Well, not really. You can see there, Peugeot Boxer, Euro 6, or / Euro 5 / Euro 6. Bloody raging I've left that DJI. It's a lot easier holding the DJI, and obviously the quality is usually a lot better, and the iPhone doesn't really help with motion, so this video might not be the best, but we'll just go with it. You can see there, Boxer 3, Euro 5, Euro 6, or Euro 6, doesn't matter, either way. And what we'll do is, we know that we've got an engine management light on. I was just going to go ahead and do basically a system selection and go into engine ECU, but what we'll do is we'll just do a health report just to see how quick it can do the test. So the ignition is on. One thing I do find about this tool is the actual battery life once you charge it is really good. I'm a nightmare for charging things, so most of the time you'll see my videos, I'll have things plugged into the 12 volt charging port because I'm a nightmare. We see we've got a couple of faults there. We'll just let it run through the health scan. We're on nearly 40 seconds at the moment. It shouldn't take us too much longer, hopefully. As you can see, we're getting closer to the good weather. It's absolutely beautiful outside. 7 o'clock I was out till last night and it was still bright, so it's amazing the difference it makes when you're out working mobile. Just that little bit of sunshine makes a massive difference. So we're on 100%, and that took us a total of, we'll just give it 1 minute 40 seconds. So fault codes that we've got, fault in the comfort can, that's in the BSI, we're not looking at that, that's just, yeah, we're not interested. Battery voltage fault, when I did start this up, it was quite low, so I don't know the last time it was actually ran. So we're not going to look into that one too much. Our main one that we're going to look into is P0480, fan assembly 1 control circuit. And that will obviously be the reason why this fan is in limp mode. Right, so since the diagnostic tool has told us that we've got a fan assembly 1 control circuit, before, you know, diving into diagrams, etc., or looking kind of too deep into it, there's a couple of things that we can do on the scan tool through bidirectional tests. Right, I want to click, there we go, I'm clicking on the wrong bit, not the tool's fault, it's my fault. So I've clicked on engine ECU and we're going to go in and see what tests we can do on the actuation side. So you can see there, if we click on actuation, and obviously we've got the engine stopped at the moment, click OK, and we're just going to go into engine cooling, and you can see there we have got three tests that we can do. The bottom one we're not interested in, air conditioning compressor. This does not have aircon. If we go up to the top, you can see low speed fan, which we'll be interested in, and high speed fan. So what I'm going to do is click on low speed fan, but before I do that, I'm going to take the scan tool over here because it is Bluetooth, so you don't need to rely on a lead. So if I set the tool there, then what I'm going to do is click on low speed fan. So you can see it's trying to do the test, and it will give us a report on the behaviour of the actuator. Don't know how accurate that will be, but it is doing it now, but there's no fan coming on. So it does say test finished OK, but we did not get any fan going. So we'll try high speed. Check the current operation, so it is doing it just now. Let's see if, oh, there we go. So I don't know if you guys can see that there. So the high speed fan's working, low speed is not. So what I'm going to do is stop that. We'll go back. So just by doing those two simple tests, we can confirm that the high speed fan is good. It's the low speed that's bringing on our fault and putting it in the limp mode. So now it's time to dig out a wiring diagram and we'll figure out how this circuit actually works. Right, so we've got the diagram up there. You can see that we've got two relays which are in the engine bay fuse box. One of them will be high speed, one of them will be low speed. So that is a low speed there, KO7L. And they're fed through to 40 amp fuses, usually maxi fuses on these. The control side obviously goes down to A11, which is your engine ECU, and then we've got Y86, which is our thermostat. So whatever, you know, information the thermostat's sending back up to the engine ECU will then determine if it wants to actuate those relays on and switch the fans on, depending on if they want it on low speed or high speed. So we know that KO7, which is our high speed, we know that's working because we can actuate it with the tool. So we know, you know, once we act, what we're basically doing is we're commanding that engine ECU to switch over that relay. That switches that over, turns that fan on. We've seen that spinning, so we know that works. All of that circuit's fine. We need to focus on KO7L. Why is that not being turned on? Have we got an issue with the control side? If anybody's not familiar with these vans, the wiring on them is terrible, so it very well could be. Or, you know, have we got an issue with the fan? Hopefully, because it'll keep it nice and simple. But yeah, we're just going to do a couple of wee tests. Let's get the headlight out because we'll need to basically access everything there, and yeah, we'll continue on. Try and no drop it. Just leave that up there. Oh, that's already loose. Happy days. We'll just set that over there. And then this headlight usually slides out like so. I've done quite a lot of these vans. They're actually quite good to work on if you're not working on anything down there. But most of the things electrical are quite good to do. So I'm just going to leave that there. And we want to take off this fuse box. You can see there's a screw missing there. And that one there's actually meant to be pushed down and then turned clockwise. That one's in there, so there's every chance of water getting in there. And I have had one of these going fire before, so we'll be making sure that we secure that down once we figure out what the fault is with this van. And that is a fuse box right there. So we need to go into HGS and figure out what one's the low speed, what one's the high speed, and we'll just continue with the testing after that. Right, so I've just brought up the fuse diagram and you can see radiator fan relay low speed, and our KO7, which is just below that, that is our high speed. So I'll just take these across to the fuse box. You can see this one here, that's your low speed, this one's your high speed. I thought they'd been the other way around just with the thickness of that relay, but I think, what size is that relay? Oh, it doesn't matter. So that's our low speed, that's our high speed. We need to focus our tests on the low speed. So I'm just going to remove it. You can see it's a simple 4-pin relay. If we go back to the diagram, so KO7L. So you can see there on pin 30, that should have a supply. So if we were to bridge over 30 and 87, that fan should turn on. Right, so here's my next test that I'm going to do. Is I'm just going to go across 87 and 30. So 30's right there, that's your big one. That's going to have a supply to it. And it should have a supply to it, and the bottom one is pin 87, so that's the output. So if I go across same now and that fan turns on, then we know that something on the control side is at fault. So let's give that a try. And there's absolutely hee-haw, there's nothing. So there's nothing there at all. I wonder, let's look back at this diagram. So the next thing we're going to, well, probably should have been the first thing, but the next thing I'm going to check is just FO7 there. Just make sure we've actually got a supply going to 30 and 86 of the relay. Just to be 100%. And for that, I'm just going to be using the OTC. I'll just try and get a decent earth somewhere. So we've got an earth on that bracket just now. We'll just make sure that we've got a good earth. As you can see there, nice and bright. So on this pin we should have battery voltage, and we've got nothing. So we've got absolutely nothing on there. So we're going to need to locate where that 40 amp fuse is, FO7. Let's go into FO7, radiator fan. So, by the looks of things, it is this 40 amp here. What have I got? I need to get a pair of pliers to pull that out. Just these fuses can sometimes be a bit tight. As the fuse, oh, that is a bad blow. So what's the betting that it's blowing because the fan's knackered? So what I'm going to do is get another fuse in there, do the same test, or even before that, what I can do is, obviously that's a motor. So if we go down there, if we go into pin 87, this should obviously have a path to ground. So if we put our test lamp to a positive, so if we just put it in there and take our other end of the test lead there into 87, you can see that doesn't light up. There's nothing there. So if I try and spin that motor, see if it brings that test light on, try and move it. Oh, I've seen it there. So the motor isn't tight. Oh, look. So as I'm spinning it, can you see it's recovering a little bit? Oh, look at that. So the issue is in the motor. So I'm just going to stop the video there and just explain that yes, I went a bit overboard on the testing on this one. Not so much, you know, that I couldn't have done it quicker. It's just I like to show, you know, not everybody's going to have that same fault. So if you've got a fault on the switching side, you know, you'll know sort of how to test it. Obviously my fault was just the fan itself. There's nothing really tricky about that. But you know, that might not apply to the same van that you're working on. It might be something different. So I'm just showing kind of different ways that you can test things. I'm not really, you know, jumping straight to the fault. I mean, I could, the one way I could have done it was just put my H7 bulb directly into the fan plug itself and chucked a new fuse in it, put the relay back in and then bi-directionally control it. That would have told us everything we needed to know. But at the same time, not everybody's going to have a scan tool or a scan tool that can do bi-directional controls. So it's all fun. YouTube, innit? That's what it's about. But like I says, there is a lot quicker ways to do it, but covers all bases. And yeah, hope you enjoy it. That's just before anybody says, oh, you could have just done it this way, you could have just done it that way. I know, I'm just saying I'm explaining it differently in the video, showing a couple of different tests that you can do. That's why. So we'll stick the fuse in. That is a new one. And we know that we've restored power there, you know, that's a no-brainer. So if I do the test again, try and get the other end. I'm just going to put it in there. Nope. Yeah, that's not happening. So that fan is completely dead. So we can confirm now that the fan is most likely at fault and it's not the wiring. But I'm just going to show you another couple of tests that I would normally do anyway, just for peace of mind and to know that they're going to be changing, you know, the part that is required. So my setup that I've got at the moment is I have put the little OTC test lamp across pins 86 and 85 with the relay removed, as you can see there. So you can see we're in at pin 85 and pin 86, and what that's doing basically is I'm going to control that with a scan tool. If that test lamp lights up, then we can confirm that the control side is 100% fine. We can rule that full side out as well, because you never know, you could have two completely different faults. You could have two things going on here, you don't know. So that's why you kind of check everything. So I'm just going to take these across to the scan tool here and we'll put it on low speed. So if I click low speed, you can see our test lamp lights up. The switching side, or the side coming from the engine ECU, is 100%. We can confirm that, and the next step that I'm going to do before anybody moans saying that I didn't load test the wiring on the fan side, I've just ran my long test leads underneath. They're coming out to here, so it's basically plugged into the fan that we know is faulty, and I'm going to connect my H7 bulb, as you can see there. I'll just connect that to either end, just like so. Boom! So we've covered absolutely everything on this van. We know for a fact The only issue we've got is the low speed fan is faulty and it's going to need replaced. So like I say, it's simple testing, but sometimes the simple stuff you can miss. And you know, posting stuff on YouTube that's a bit too in-depth sometimes doesn't do really well in the views. So I'm just going to keep it basic from now on. If this is basic to some people, I don't know, it might be good to learn, etc. But we tested everything, we covered every wire that we had to on that fan circuit. Yeah, so there's nothing really else to cover. Let's get it built back up, inform the customer that it needs a fan, and we'll continue with the next job. So this is just going to be covered in one video. I'm not going to take you on another job after this. Time's marching on now. Like I said, with the little THINKSCAN, I'll try and get it. So if you're interested in the THINKSCAN 689, typical as that. If you're interested in the THINKSCAN 689 BT, I will leave an affiliate link in the description. Go and take a look at that. No forcing anybody to buy it, but the option's there. You will get a discount on it. I'm going to leave that one here, guys. Remember, click that like, share and subscribe button. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.